Right. Oh. Right. Turn off that noise. Right. Turn off that noise. Okay. All right, this is Dr. Mike. I'm live, but just waiting for our page to load up. It looks like there's a little bit of a delay and a lag in it. So I'm just gonna give it a few more minutes, and then we'll get started. Right. All right, here we go. So welcome everybody to the. This is actually the first time I'm doing this. I finally figured out how to stream something from my laptop. It's almost like a webinar onto Facebook Live. So this is actually kind of exciting. This is the first one. If this is the first time that you're here, my name is Dr. Mike Okouchi, and the clinic that I run is in Irvine, California, Southern California, wherever you guys are tuning in from. And tonight we're going to talk about, why you're sick, what to do about it, and how we can help. So let me ask you guys a couple questions. Is this you? All right, answer these questions. These are some of the common things that I see in people saying, I just don't feel well, and whenever I go to my medical doctor, he just keeps giving me more and more medications. Okay. Or I've run every test, but all my results come back fine, but I still feel sick. All right. How many of you guys have run every single test, but you still don't feel well? Right. Or, I'm trying to do it on my own, but I just can't get the results, or I just can't keep the results. Right. You get well, then you feel sick again. You get well, you feel sick again. Okay. Well, we can help, and that's what we do every single day. So a little bit about myself. I was born and raised on the North Shore of Oahu in the state of Hawaii. And my goal and dream was to become a musician and just tour the world and just live the life and go back and live on the beach. But when I was a junior in college, life really just hit me up on the side of the head. My grandmother, age 61, passed away, and she had kidney failure. So she was in dialysis for years upon years, and that really opened my eyes and to see that the things that we were doing for her wasn't really helping her. So passing away age 61 was relatively young. So I set out on a course to learn all that I could to help the body heal in a natural way and look for more effective things. And I graduated in chiropractic school and opened up a clinic called Velocity Wellness Center. And in 2009, we were selected as the number one wellness center in all of Southern California. And we've served people from the Southern California region, and we've had people from around the country fly in, and internationally as well. So we've tried to do things that have implemented some of the techniques and different services that my mentors taught me and helped me to actually gain my health back. And that story is for another time. So what you're going to learn tonight is why you're still sick, what exactly do we do in the office, and how can you get better. Okay, so why do we get sick? Well, it basically comes down to you have a compromised nervous system. At the crux of it all is a properly functioning nervous system, right? If your brain is not properly communicating with the rest of your body, the body is not going to work properly, right? So you have a compromised immune system. Next one is you're overburdened with toxins. If toxins are being just overrun in your body, the nervous system can't function properly. So we got to make sure that we're looking at toxins. That's why a reason why you're still sick. Another one is deficiency in nutrients. Years upon years ago, what they found was that a lot of the diseases were diseases of deficiencies, like scurvy, beriberi, pellagra. All of these diseases were because the body was lacking in nutrients. So it formed these different diseases. This happens till today, and chronic illnesses is because of chronic deficiencies of nutrients. Or you have an unresolved infection. A lot of times we don't realize that we have an underlying infection going on that's really affecting our body's biochemistry. Allergies and sensitivities. We may be overstimulating our immune system, where our immune system it's reacting to the things that it doesn't need to react to, and then when it needs to react to the things that it needs to react to, it doesn't have the proper efficiency. So allergies and sensitivities. And then a big one is emotional stressors. So these are the reasons why you're still sick. These are unresolved. So these are what we call your interferences to your body healing itself. Your body's a self-healing mechanism, but if you have these interferences, these roadblocks to healing, your body's never going to heal itself, okay? So let's start with the nervous system. So if you have a disruption in proper communication, the body doesn't talk to each other. So within your spine, you have these receptors, and the receptors send signals to the brain, which then the brain will interpret that and will send signals back down to the organs on how to respond. Okay, so if you have receptors that are not sending proper signals to the brain can't send proper signals down to the organs, and then you don't get proper function. And so this is where we start with every single patient is we look at the spinal receptors in your body, making sure that it's sending effective messages to the brain so the brain can send effective messages to the organs. Okay. So what affects the receptors? Well, anything like direct trauma. You could be in an accident. You could be in a sports injury. You could have had some type of scar tissue that we're going to talk about. Muscular imbalances. So you could have things that's pulling the spine one way, that's pulling the spine improperly into another way. Oh, excuse me, talking too much today. And postural faults in movement. Postural faults in movement. Oh my gosh, this is what I see every single day. I see people coming in with head tilting to the right, a shoulder that's rolled in on one side. And if you have improper posture, that's going to send improper signaling to the brain because the receptors are either overfiring or underfiring. Okay, we got to fix that. Fascial imbalances and adhesions. So you got a lot of scar tissue within the fascia, the soft tissues of the body. This can cause imbalances in the receptors because the body's not moving properly. Basically, overall life, right? Just being alive is causing a lot of imbalances in our receptors. If we sit in the wrong way or we have abnormal postures, it's going to cause some, effects upon our health. So where do we need to start balance? Well, we got to make sure that the head, the neck, and pelvis and feet are all in balance, right? I see a lot of patients where their head is level, their neck is level, their pelvis is out of balance, and that causes a lot of postural torque and postural distortions that will affect overall nerve function. Now let's look at toxins. Okay. Basically, here's the formula for health. If you don't take away anything from this webcast, take away this. The key to health is getting toxins out of the body just as fast as the toxins coming into it. Okay, so if we live in a toxic world, guys. If you haven't looked around and saw all the toxins in our environment, you've been missing out on a great thing. But we're always being exposed to toxins. We're taking it in, and we're also producing toxins. So if we can get the toxins out faster than the toxins is coming in, your body's going to be able to function properly. Okay, and the big one is emotion. So how many of you guys have ever seen that movie Inside Out, right? By the Pixar movie where it looks at all the different emotions inside of your head and how it affects your life. That's actually true. There's a specific part of your brain called the limbic system which stores emotions, and the emotions will cause a physiological response. That's why we have terms like butterflies in my stomach, or sick to my stomach, or I'm having a gut feeling about something. It's because the limbic system affects how organs function, and if you have an improper amount of emotional toxins, emotional barrage on the body, it's going to affect how the organs function. So we need to restore that. And we use a technique in our office called neuro-emotional technique that will help to rebalance out that limbic response in the body. Okay. So if there's a spinal issue going on, that also affects the limbic system as well, right? We talked about how the nervous system plays an integral part, and the receptors in the body play an integral part on how the nervous system reacts to the external environment. So here's an interesting thing, is that the limbic system acting upon the organs will actually cause changes in how the cell functions, because everything comes back down to the cell. So the limbic system will tell and have an interaction with the cell membrane. If you can see there, it says plasma cell membrane. And that membrane will then cause a conformational change. Basically, it's basically just a cell signal, kind of like a telephone game where one person is telling the other person to go and do something. Okay? And this telephone game can become clogged, right? And the cell doesn't function properly. So the cell's trying to get the message from the nervous system, but the limbic system is overriding that message. And the whole reason why the limbic system overrides that message is to keep you alive. The way that the limbic system works is it stores highly emotional events so that just in case you encounter that event again, it keeps you alive, right? So say like you were in the wilderness and you had you're walking around, you ate a berry, and that berry turned out to be poisonous. Well, now every time you see a berry like that in the wilderness and it looks exactly the same, you'll have a physiological remembrance of what that did to your body. Right? How many of you guys ever eaten something and you had maybe like food poisoning, maybe at a restaurant? Now every time you think about that restaurant, you're like, oh, I never want to eat there again just because I had a bad reaction. That's your limbic system working on your organs. Okay, that happens at a subconscious level, and that this is a really really big part of why people never ever get better, is because there's aberrant emotional patterns that are stuck and stored in the body. So that's something that we got to deal with in the office. So here's some of the roadblocks that we deal with in the office, and that has to be overcome in order for your body to heal. The environment, right? If you have a, you know, you're very sick, but you don't want to change the environment that you're in. And when I say environment, it doesn't necessarily have to mean your home, your friends, where you live, but even just your your lifestyle, right? We got to change the environment that we're putting the cell, into, right? So if you look from a cellular perspective, cells always adapt to the environment that they're being put in. So if we put a cell into an environment that's out of the norm, it will adapt to that. Okay? Improper digestion, so not breaking down the foods that we're eating, is another roadblock. Impaired detoxification. Okay, impaired detoxification will then build up toxins in our body, decrease immunity. We're not able to fight off foreign invaders, and we're being exposed to all types of different foreign invaders. One of the big things that I see in practice is an overabundance of parasitic infections. And I saw statistics saying that over two-thirds of the food that we're consuming is not being properly inspected by the USDA. And a lot of the foods that we're eating is being imported from other countries. So that we're getting food that's grown in environments that don't have the same type of stringencies of cleanliness, that is compromising our immune system because we're being overburdened with different types of infections. Hormones and neurotransmitters going out of balance. I see a lot of people, actually almost every single person, being overly stressed. So our hormones are out of balance, neurotransmitters being out of balance. Lack of circulation is another one. Most people don't get enough exercise, they don't get enough movement. We see a lot of people who do desk jobs sitting there all day, and their bodies basically become stagnant. You guys ever seen stagnant water? What happens to stagnant water? Well, it doesn't get the proper oxygenation, and it doesn't get the proper detoxification. The lack of circulation, a breeding ground for disease is always lack of nutrients, increase in toxicity, and the lack of oxygen. So that's what happens in lack of circulation. The lack of energy production. Your cells have these little things called mitochondria, which, over time, your body just loses its ability to produce energy at the mitochondrial level. So we got to make sure that we boost that back up. Structural imbalances, we already talked about that. This is what most people think about with chiropractic. And we're going to deal with structural imbalances. Inefficient energy production. So not just the lack of energy production, but maybe your body's able to produce energy, but it's doing it inefficiently. And we call that, at the end stages of that, we call that cancer. Your body's being inefficient at producing energy, so it has to find other means. And cancer is actually one of the ways that your body does that. Emotional imbalances, as in adding other stressors to your limbic system, and bioenergetic disturbances. So we got stuff that'll decrease um, the biomagnetic resonances in your body, and we have different tools that we use to restore the bioenergetic balance in your body. Okay. So what exactly do we do in our office? Well, the famous Thomas Edison said this years and years and years ago, that the doctor of the future will give no medicine but will interest her or his patients in the care of the human frame, in a proper diet, and in the cause and prevention of disease. And if you look at modern day healthcare, uh, do we do anything to take care of the human frame? Not really. Do we educate patients in proper diet? Not really. Do we look at the cause and prevention of disease? No, we look at the disease itself, and we throw pills at it, we throw surgery at it, we throw basically toxins at it. We do nothing of these issues of caring for the human frame, proper diet, and cause and prevention of disease. But this is what we do in our office. I, I I always tell my patients that we are futuristic. We are part of, like, we were in Back to the Future, and we jumped into the DeLorean, went 88 miles an hour, and here we are, the doctor of the future, and we're dealing with the care of the human frame. We're looking at proper diet, and we're looking at the cause, not just the disease, but we're looking at the cause of it and how do we prevent all of that. So basically, what we do is we identify the roadblocks. We use different diagnostic tests outside of what we consider to be the standard tests, like a complete blood panel or your thyroid panel. We run functional tests that look at metabolites of your urine. We look at different types of allergies and sensitivities. We look at how your neurotransmitters may be in balance or out of balance. We look at functional stool tests, not just stool tests, the basic level, but we look at these tests will actually look at DNA fragments of different types of parasitic infections or yeast overgrowths or bacterial overgrowths and all that kind of stuff. We have different questionnaires that if you answer specific things, it'll kind of tell us where you lie and where your deficiencies and excesses lie. Okay, so that's step one. We got to identify the roadblocks. We look at your history. My mentors always told me, listen to the patient. Your patient will tell you everything that you need to know about what's going on with them. You know your body the best. And so when patients come into our office, we tell us everything. And I usually start from before you were born. What was mom's pregnancy like, all the way up to where you are now, because everything plays a part in who you are and what you are expressing today. Okay. And then we do a functional examination. We look at how your body's functioning, not how your body's dysfunctioning. Um, that one you got to just experience for yourself. You got to come into our office and experience our functional examination. It's not anything weird, or it's not anything that'll hurt you, no needles or anything like that. But you'll see how the body responds on a neurological level. So then we create your roadmap to health. We look at your mindset. We look at changing your environment. Most of my patients, I say, and I'm very strict with this, is that your mindset, if your mindset is one of, I've already given up, I know that there's no hope, you're never going to get better. But if your mindset is one of, hey, you know what? I've maybe have exhausted all the avenues that I know of, but I just don't know of any other routes. And this is kind of like where we were, with our family. We didn't know that there were any other routes. So the mindset was just, hey, whatever we're told, we're gonna do. And unfortunately, the things that we didn't get us the results that we wanted. So I always tell my patient, it always starts with mindset, and having a mindset of hope, having a mindset of, basically an open mind, and looking at, well, we don't really understand the body fully. So let's look at how we can apply these different techniques, these different therapies, and what kind of results are we going to get. And we've gotten some amazing results, guys. So then we have our in-office care. Majority of my patients are in office. We have a handful that are outside, but getting the best results we'll be seeing in office. And then there's also home care. So I say about 20% of your results is going to come from what we're doing in office, and the other 80% is what we're going to be instructing you to do at home. Because at home is where everything is going to occur. What you're putting in your body, your lifestyle, your stressors, all that stuff. So we instruct you on how to have a healthy home. So we then focus on removing the roadblocks on these, what we consider the 3 R's. This is a distillation from the 4 R's. First stage is we got to remove. We got to remove all the things that's causing your body to hinder its self-healing mechanism. Then we got to repair the damage that was done, and then restore all the things that your body is now deficient in. Okay. So if you remember, we looked at those roadblocks. We got to remove those things. Those roadblocks impair the body's ability to repair itself. So we got to repair the damaged tissue, and then restore all of the different nutrients that your body was lacking. Because when your body goes into a disease mode or dysfunctional mode, it's utilizing all the stored nutrients that you basically, you got to look at it like it's your reserve tanks. So it's using up your reserve tanks, it's using up your savings, your health savings account, and it's running on empty. So we got to restore all of the savings and restore the main fuel tank. That's it takes a while, though. I won't kid around with you guys. It does take a while for your body to respond, because it took a while for your body to get there. This is not something that's going to happen overnight. So here's some of the tools of the trade that we use in our office. We call chiropractic neurokinesiology, neuro-emotional technique that helps deal with the physiological emotional response in the body. Orthomolecular nutrition, where we use nutrition to elicit a physiological response. I mean, sometimes we use it like a pharmaceutical response because sometimes our patients need that type of level of nutrition. Basically, that's just high levels of nutrients. We're flooding the body with that. Using the infrared sauna, the pulse electromagnetic field therapy or PEMF, ionic foot baths, low level laser, the energy balancer from Asira, which is a biomeridian scanning analysis that looks at what's being blocked in your body, what your body doesn't agree with, and then we can create something that will help balance your body out. Lymphatic drainage, and then obviously a biochemically balanced diet, which is what you're doing at home. So, what are your first steps to health? Well, first steps to health is, you know what, let's schedule an initial consult. And then your next step is after the initial consult is we're going to identify all the things that we need to get rid of, the different roadblocks, and then we're going to create a plan, and then we just take action on the plan. And then as we go along in the plan, we're going to see how does your body respond to that, because other roadblocks may come up that wasn't up front, that we could identify. So we got to see along. It's like peeling back an onion. We're going to see different layers, So other things may pop up along the way, and then we got to take care of those things. Okay, here's some success stories that we had from patients. Um, Here's a lady, that she came into the office a couple years ago, and then she wrote a review on our Yelp page, and her mom was having digestive issues, and she had a difficult time losing weight. So basically, we focused on balancing out her pH levels, getting her to a state of alkalinity, and then repaired her gut. And then within 6 weeks, she was able to drop 6 pounds. That wasn't our intention for her to lose weight, but you can see by just getting the body in a healthier state, it doesn't have to hold on to those excess weight. I had another patient, and this guy, he came into the office, and he had a long time spider bite that was affecting his ability to walk. And he was all to all these neurologists, and they told him that he was basically going to be disabled for the rest of his life and never going to be using his leg again. And here he wrote down, that he was able to ride his bike for 12 miles. And a cool thing was that he was able to, he didn't have his driver's license, and he was dependent upon his mom to take him from place to place. And now, after getting treated in her office, he was able to walk properly, got his driver's license, got an amazing job, and now he's living the dream. And so it was cool to see him overcome his health issues, and now he's living life the way that it should be. Here's another cool story that just recently happened. This was one of our patients that came in. He was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, and it says that he was in hospice. That was given 3 months to live. Started working with us, and now just this past October, we celebrated his 80. What is his? I think it's his 83rd birthday or 82nd birthday. And it was just cool to see him progress and get healthier, and start to live his life. That's one of the joys of my job. I get to see people really step into their health and get to the life that they want to live. you know so what's the next steps for you? Well, like I said, schedule your consult. You can either call our office, or you can schedule online. You can go to our website, velocitywellness.com. But right now, for this month, we're actually running a special. One of my goals, the beginning part of for that I set at the beginning part of this year for 2017 is I want to help elevate the health status of the entire world. And it's a big lofty goal, but go big or go home has always been my motto. And I've just seen too many people being struck down with their health, and I truly believe that without our health, we don't have anything. And so I sat down, actually over the past 2 months, from Thanksgiving, really seeing, well, how can we help more people? And I said, you know what, I'm going to do something really crazy, do something really insane. This is what I call my insane special for the month. So, well, what I'm doing for the month of January is that if you're a brand new patient, you've been wanting to come in, or this, you're just seeing this for the first time, go to this link, velocitywellness.com/Jan special. and you're gonna get your first visit on me. Your first visit, we're gonna identify all those roadblocks. We're gonna figure out a game plan, and take action on the game plan. But your first visit, whatever things that we need to do in the office, it's on me. I just want to see you at a better state of health. I want to create a healthier world. I truly believe that if we don't do this, that our children are going to be living in a worse world than what we came into. And my mom and dad always told me that wherever you go, always leave it in better shape than when you got there. And I thought about that and I says, well, let's do this for the entire world. I came to this world. World was a pretty cool place, and it's getting pretty crazier now. And I'm seeing people get too sick, and that's why we gotta take a stand, and that's my whole goal. So go to velocitywellness.com/Jan special. Get that voucher. Come on in, and let's see how we can work together. Some of the frequently asked questions that people always at the top of the head is what I get asked every day. Well, I just got asked this today, from a brand new patient. She said, "Aren't chiropractors just back doctors?" I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, it's been known for that. But if you look at the history of chiropractic, the first chiropractic patient actually was never seen for low back pain. If you look at the integration between the brain, organs, and the spine, you'll see that if you have, and there's been studies on this, by the way, if you have a deviation in the spine that's causing some type of a decrease in nerve communication, which we talked about earlier in the webinar, that you're not going to get properly functioning organs. And pro, proper functioning organs is dependent upon proper nerve flow. So we got to work on that. Of course, yeah, it's going to come back down to your spine, and chiropractors were the best in the world that deals with spinal subluxations. We're not just for back pain, guys. We're the best in the world for that, but the far-reaching effects of getting your spine adjusted is much more than back relief. It's for total body wellness. Okay. Here's another question: is why can't I just do this on my own? Well, you could. Absolutely, you could. But it's kind of like journeying, to a place that you've never been to. It's always great to have guidance along the way, and that's what we do in our office. We're that second pair of eyes to kind of guide you along the way. We're kind of that Google Maps that'll tell you, okay, we're gonna turn left here, we're gonna turn right there, because a lot of times we can't even see our own things. Even me myself, I don't do this on my own. I have somebody that guides me along the way. My mentors always told me, well, some of the best athletes in the world have coaches. You look at people like Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan. They were at the top of their game, and they always had coaches along the way. So you got to have somebody that will be your second pair of eyes. Another question people ask is, well, I don't like being adjusted. Well, a lot of people actually don't need to be manually adjusted, but we need to stimulate the nerve receptors along your spine. So we have non-invasive, very, very gentle ways of stimulating the spine that doesn't have to do with what people always think. Well, I don't want my spine being cracked, right? So there are ways that we can do that in the office. Another question is, do you take insurance? Well, the answer to that, or the better question, should be, well, why don't insurances take you? And I can't answer that question, because I really don't know. Where's insurance gone? But I do know that insurances is more about disease care, and so we don't bill insurance in our office. But what we do for all of our patients, if you ask, is we provide you with a super bill for your insurance that has all the codes, that has all the procedures that we do in the office, has how much we charge. You can give that to your insurance, and they'll reimburse you directly if they choose to. Okay, so we don't take assignment for your insurance. That's better a better way of putting it. We give it all to you, and you get reimbursed directly, which actually works out pretty good. Um, well, the question is, another one is, how much will this all cost? And that's something I can't actually answer, because it's all on an individual basis. It's all according to what interferences are there, how well your body is responding. So it's all according to what's going on with your body. I don't have one set for every single person. There's different programs that we do have, but how much will it all cost? I have no idea until you come in, and we kind of see what the interferences are and create a game plan around that. That's when I can kind of determine that. That's why we're running the special, and I'm giving you the first visit, on the house. So come on in. You got nothing to lose on that. Next one is, Well, how long will it take me to feel better? On average, I see the detoxification part of your program lasting anywhere between 3 to 9 months. So on average, it takes a person about 6 months to kind of see noticeable changes. But majority of my patients, if they stick to it, they see it. They start to feel better within the first 2 to 3 weeks, if not the first visit. Again, it's also dependent upon what's been going on in your body. Next question is, well, do all people get better at your office? And the answer to that is yes and no. And this is it's dependent upon what's going on in their body, and it's also dependent upon how well they stick to what we recommend for them. Like I said, I see people patients in the past who've dabbled with what we give them. Anytime you dabble, you're never going to get the results that you want. The people who are really strict on what we're giving them, and they really stick to it, those are the ones that get really good results. So do all people get better at our office? Not really, but it's dependent upon what they're doing. Like I said, 80% of your treatment program is how well you adhere to your home care instructions. So what I recommend for you guys, go now, get the special, www.velocitywellness.com/Jan special. All right, guys, till the next time, see us in about 2 weeks. Till the next time, be well and aloha.